accident in red sector L14. Do not abandon your post. There is no danger of radiation leakage.
Hi, this is Brad Bird, executive consultant on a scads of these shows and director of this video.
And this is Matt Groening.
This was all done in Budapest, Hungary. And I'd been asked to do this several times, and this is a gag we added. Nobody wanted to do this because everybody was busy doing the show. And finally, they came at me a third or fourth time, and I said, okay, I'll do it. So we went over to Hungary and had to do this thing in an unbelievably short amount of time because then time had run out, and it was supposed to coincide with the release of the Simpsons album.
Right. Yeah,
so we added this wraparound at the beginning to kind of set Bart against the crowd and put the video in some sort of context. We storyboarded this in only 2 days and then got on a plane and had to go to Hungary. And there was this great studio that in Hungary, Varga Studios, that did it. And they really rallied. They all thought that it was going to be done as simply as the original Tracy Ullman 1 minutes because they didn't have the TV show over there. And then I told them, no, it's full animation and there are no repeated scenes, and they went into deep shock because this is really full animation. It's not like the a regular episode. Anyway, we did the show mostly in about 2 weeks, and there was no margin for error because they didn't have pencil testing. We didn't have time for pencil testing machines. So Gregg Vanzo and I, who was the assistant director on this, went over there and did it in like 2.5 weeks, really. And it is the single hardest thing I've ever done. I almost died.
The look on your face when you got off the plane back in LA was amazing. And if you recall, we had to do the final mix and edit on this. We were up until, 3 or 4 in the morning?
Well, even later, because the satellite, it was supposed to premiere worldwide at the same moment worldwide. It was truly this global phenomenon. And it was like a scene from broadcast news because the satellite that was going to beam it to New York was heading towards America, and Lorena Adamson kept saying, the satellite's coming, the satellite's coming. And we actually missed the first of 3 transmissions. Usually they try to do 3 in case there's a problem. And we missed the first one, and somebody grabbed the tape, ran through several stop signs in downtown LA, and we just caught one good transmission in time.
Wow.
It was like that the entire time we made it.
Wow. Well, and we haven't talked about the origin of this. This is Michael Jackson's song. Michael Jackson was a big Bart Simpson fan, and he called me late at my office late one night, and he's got that very distinctive voice, and I didn't believe it was him. I thought it was somebody pulling a prank on me. And we went and visited him in the studio, and we were already working on some other Simpsons stuff for the Simpsons album, and showed him the lyrics that we're working on. So some of the lyrics of this song were taken from a rap song that I wrote for Bart for something else.
Right.
And then a few things we didn't come up with, but it was Michael Jackson, so we said, okay. We didn't like the line about putting mothballs in the beef stew. That was a little corny.
Yeah, I know. They really killed themselves to do this. When we told them there were all going to be all these characters that all had to be hand-painted and ready in time for this release, they were not familiar with the characters. They didn't speak the language. So it was literally like the most impossibly hard thing I've ever done. And Varga Studios deserves a ton of credit for pulling it off.
Michael Jackson did say, I want to give Bart a #1 single, but it was never released as a single here.
I wanted to get Sideshow Bob and Krusty in there, too, and the Itchy and Scratchy titles, which I designed for the Krusty Gets Busted episode, because I love Sideshow Bob and Krusty.
What I couldn't believe is that no one picked up that it was a Michael Jackson song, because who but Michael Jackson would put in a lyric about, I want to be bad like Michael Jackson? Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Hey, Brad, good job.
Thank you. Brian Loring. Well, I loved being part of The Simpsons, and I look back on it fondly.
Well, the character you related to most was Krusty.
Krusty.
That was your man, right?
Well, as Oregonians, and
Yeah.
friends of Rusty Nails from way
Rusty
back.
Nails was a clown in Portland, Oregon. Had his own kiddie show that was a sort of very twice removed inspiration for Krusty the Clown. Because Rusty Nails was really a nice clown.
Yes, and not decrepit like Krusty.
Yes. And not Jewish, Christian. Very. It was very strange to have a clown that talked about the Bible.
Hey, this is songwriter Matt Groening.
This is Gregg Vanzo, animation director.
Let's move right along. You can all sing along at the sound of the gong. Once upon a time, about a week ago.
And this is the second video from the Simpsons Sing the Blues album.
Alarm was buzzing. I was snoozing. Supposed to get up now.
It's full of elements from the show, from the old Tracy Ullman cartoons and from King Kong. All the classics.
To my surprise, there stood Homer in his temperature rise. I was chilling.
Well, we're watching this with the sound off while we're doing this audio commentary. Usually we have headphones on, so we're just seeing the visuals on this. And what's amazing to me is how we can tell what's going on just by the poses.
This is really a rap album, especially a rap song. It's like really good for cutting and good, quick, snappy action. So this posing in this one is probably much more than in the show itself. Much snappier and held poses because there wasn't much time for each scene. Had to cut very quickly from scene to scene. So, which makes it a lot of fun for me. It was actually pretty quick to storyboard these sequences. Once I got going, once I sat down with Matt and we got a general idea going. And then it worked really fast.
You know, that thing about held poses seems to be a real style of The Simpsons.
Right.
And, you know, there's a tendency in animation to have things moving all the time. And I love it when we get to the extreme pose and then hold it. It feels very rhythmic, and it's more satisfying than the kind of slushy bounce that you get in a lot of cheap cartoons.
I always like those scenes where, he's like blinking his eyes, but his body's held. Just the eyes blinking around nervously.
Right. Full frontal nudity coming up.
Coming up. Stay tuned.
Oh.
Drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was done out of necessity. We had to do that.
Yes. How did it hang there in the first place? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's magic, cartoon magic. So.
That's a good shot. Wow, very cinematic.
The next thing you know, Mom and Dad are home. The kids disappear and I'm all alone. Everything's silent except for my moan and the low bluesy tone of a saxophone. They look at me, then they go into a huddle, get the sinking sensation I'm in deep, deep trouble.
That was fun to design. Bart as a snail.
Epilogue to my tale of sadness. I was dragged down the street by his royal dadness. We rounded the corner and came to a stop. Through the inside Jake's barber shop. I said,
And there's the barber from the original Tracy Ullman cartoon. Same gag.
Direct lift, pretty
Yep.
much.
I did have a haircut like that when I was 5. You know, one time I went into a barber shop during the hippie years, and I had very long hair, and the barber offered me $5 if he could cut my hair. But he had such a malevolent gleam in his eye that what I did was I said, I'll take you up on that. And I sat down and waited nervously and said, I'll be right back, and ran.
I could have gotten $5 when I did it. Wow. Did it
My
once.
mom was really mad. She's
My wife was
furious.
mad when I shaved my head. Boy.
You shaved your head?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Of course, I did it at a bad time. I was here in L.A. and they were in Korea, and we met in Hawaii on vacation. And I show up with a bald head.
Wow.
My son's like, "What happened to Daddy, Mommy?" Well, it wasn't shaved. It was like very short stubble. As short as I could get it.
Wow.
I just wanted to shave it off. We were working on the Max, I think. The MTV thing.
Well, I shaved my beard off last summer for the first time in 20 years, and my kids had never seen me without a beard, and they said, grow it back, Daddy."
yeah, they won't. My wife and my son won't let me shave this. It's like, I hate it when it gets too long because it gets so uncomfortable. But they just don't shave it off. My wife says I look too young. It's like, well, is that bad? You look younger than me, so I'll never look younger than you.
We'll be back with more
Yes.
hair and beard commentary on the next song.
He keeps it rolling. He keeps it rolling. Okay, cut.